Damian Bartoni here on behalf of Fox West Texas and the official host of MMA Monday, the only MMA show in San Angelo. It's Women's History Month, y'all, and I told y'all, every episode of MMA Monday this month is going to be featured around the trailblazers of the sport of the world of mixed martial arts. So who better to join me than Hail Hailey Cowan. Hailey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Today's my rest day, so I've just been kind of chilling, so that's nice.
Well, rest days, you're very deserving of one. I've seen your weight cut before. I've seen the body right before you get out there. You're definitely all of an athlete, and you definitely take this very seriously. So you're deserving of that.
Yeah, and I've been in camp for so long because, I was supposed to fight a few weeks ago. I've been in camp for like 4 months now, so I'm like, definitely need my rest days, but I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I'm really stoked for you as well. Like you mentioned, right? You were supposed to fight back in February. You had a medical issue, right? An outside issue going on. But overall, we're here now, right? You come and you fight in San Antonio next weekend. So right now, how are you feeling? How is the emotions mentally? I know that's a lot to go through. So how are you feeling?
Dude, it was so crazy. So I'll just share what happened. So I cut weight, made weight, easiest weight cut of my life. Just boxed for like an hour and was on weight. Went back to the room, took a shower, got out of the shower and started having like really, really bad lower pains in my stomach. And I started bleeding really badly. And I actually had an ovarian cyst rupture.
Oh.
Yeah. So I lost like a lot of blood. They like got me into the ER immediately. Luckily the doctor was awake because it was pretty late. So I called him, he got to the room, made sure that I got into the ER. I didn't have to wait or anything. They got me in immediately, were able to make sure that, I was okay. And they obviously immediately had to start rehydrating me because of the blood loss. So, I mean, it was rough, but for something to happen, that's probably the best thing that could have happened because literally 2 days later, I was better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It seems, not to say like there's a right time for that, right? But no. especially considering the UFC, you were there in the UFC's care, right? Everyone was there. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're healthy, right?
But I'm just glad it didn't happen like in the middle of the fight.
Oh yeah.
Because that would have been awful. Because I was debilitated. Like I couldn't move. Like.
And so was this just something that, like, obviously I'm not a woman, so but is this something that like can happen just out of nowhere, or just something that kind of like takes a process to happen?
So it has never happened to me before. But when it happened and I was talking to some of my friends, like a bunch of them like, oh yeah, I've been there. So apparently it's more common than I realized. Mm-hmm. But no, like usually if you develop cysts on your ovaries, they just go away on their own. Yeah. And then sometimes, so literally I'm just the most unlucky person in the world that it happened to happen right then.
Well, at least here's the positive, right? You find out of Waco. The only thing about Waco that I don't like is there's always construction going on. Literally every time I drive through Waco, I hate it. Yeah, I hate it, especially right by the Baylor Stadium where the Raising Cane's is at and all that. Literally, I feel like that road, they've been working on it since I was like 8. But you're fighting in San Antonio, Texas. That's very close to home for me. So how excited are you to be in the 210 showing out for Texas?
It's like everything worked out the way it was supposed to. Like in the worst way possible, it worked out, how it should have worked out. I get to fight at home. I get to fight at Texas. And I am like all Texas. Like I am Texas. If Texas could be a person, it's me. So being able to fight, in the great state, it's like, it's a dream come true because there aren't a lot of Texas cards. One, maybe 2 a year. And this happened. It was devastating. It seemed like it was catastrophic. And then for them to turn around and be like, hey, you want to fight in San Antonio? I was like, yes, yes, I do.
Yeah, and you're fighting a very game opponent. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to talk a little bit more about Texas in particular. It is Women's History Month, right? We are in the month of March. And let's talk about some history here. I don't know if you knew this, but according to places like Tapology, you are the #1 ranked Texas bantamweight female fighter in the state of Texas. That's history, right? That is history. No matter what happens in your career, you will be looked at as March 17, 2023, as we're doing this. You are the #1 female bantamweight in the state of Texas. I don't know if you knew that, but now that I just told you, how does that make you feel?
That's pretty cool. I don't really keep up with any of that stuff. I knew that there was a while where me and Des were #1 and 2 in Texas, like for like years. So that was always pretty cool. But yeah, that's awesome. I work really hard and I take pride in, I'm very athletic, but I always take more pride in my work ethic than I do in my, God-given abilities. I was just blessed with that, with the work ethic. I had to do that myself. So I've taken a lot of pride in that. And so, hearing things like that, that makes me feel like I'm doing something right.
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit too about, you mentioned, oh man, you thought it was like the worst possible thing or have the worst luck. But I know you're a woman of faith, and I know in times like that, right? Your faith can definitely be tested. You're like, why? Like, why is this happening to me, right? For you, was that something that you really kind of leaned upon to really kind of get you through a very, tough and a very unexpected time?
Absolutely. And like, it's so crazy because I mean, it was so traumatizing what happened. Like when I was in the hospital, I wasn't even thinking about the fight, which sounds horrible. I was thinking about, am I going to be able to have a family? Like, am I going to be able to have kids when I retire? Am I going to be able to, all the things that I've dreamed of as a, from a kid to now, am I going to be able to, I didn't know what was going on yet. And so in my head, I just was like, what's happening. So the fight wasn't even on my mind until they came in and said, hey, you're going to be okay. And then I was like, okay, do I get to fight? So it was like, I don't know, like, it really put things into perspective. My dad's a pastor, and he's always explained to us growing up, me and my sisters were all very high level athletes all through college. And so we all three went and competed for Division I colleges. But just growing up, he explained to us, your sport is what you do. It's not who you are. And that way, when things happen, like you get injured, it's not like your entire being, is shifting. It's just what you're doing is changing for a second. And so it's been it was almost just a reminder. Hey, MMA is your passion. It's not your purpose. You love to do this, but this is not why you were born. If it
Yep.
was, then you would probably go ahead and just die at 37 years old because, you can't really do it for much longer.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was just another reminder of, hey, this is your passion, not your purpose. Don't forget don't forget why you do this. This isn't your end all be all. So.
And to kind of piggyback off that as well, right? Your journey, right, to get to this point, right? You fought in the Contender Series back in August. You fought similar to your teammate Desiree and a good friend of the show, Chris Cyborg. You guys have fought everywhere, right? LFA, Invicta. Desiree's the peak champion right now as well, right? Now she's with PFL. Now you have your first UFC fight, right, on a fight night and everything. What has that journey been like, and did you get that kind of I made it moment when you finally started, signing on the dotted line?
So I'm actually one of the lucky ones. I've only fought for 3 promotions. Most people get to the UFC, they had to fight through a ton of things. I got really blessed with LFA. I fought for LFA as an amateur, and then just went straight into LFA as a professional. And I would have done my entire career there, but at the end, we just couldn't find any opponents. And Invicta was like, hey, we've got girls here that'll fight. And so LFA let me go for 1 fight, and then the plan was, to come back after that. But then I got the call up. So I got really lucky with really good promotions. I never dealt with I never had any bad promotional experiences. But when I won, it was so weird. When I won the Contenders, I had a really close fight with Claudia. But I don't know. Everyone's like, oh no, you're lying. There's no way. I knew that I was getting the contract. I don't know. I just felt like it was my time. I felt like I did everything the right way to get there. Nobody works harder than me. It was just like, I just felt like this is what's supposed to happen, Yeah. And again, a lot of those Contenders fights, they're total mismatches. They matched me and Claudia up perfectly. I mean, you couldn't get a more even matchup. And so, and I knew that going in.
But that's just when I'm not a believer in luck. I think luck is, whenever you're properly trained, right, properly practiced, and it makes good timing. I'm not a believer.
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so this is something that you've essentially manifested and said, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, right? This is where I feel, right? And speaking on the Contenders fights, that is true because a good friend of mine, Zach Borrego, he unfortunately fought Bo Nickel's first fight on the Contender Series, and I'm like, yeah, what a great way to debut on the Contender Series against Bo Nickel.
They'll bring it back, I bet.
Oh yeah, no, they will, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it's so true about what you're talking about. I had a couple more for you, honestly, and like I said, it's very much so. It's inspiring for me to see these female athletes in the sport of mixed martial arts, because I was telling Desiree, in terms of the UFC, they signed Ronda Rousey back in 2013, 2014. Before that, Dana was like, 2012, yeah. But Dana was like, we'll never have women's fighters, right? Like never, right? And so you guys are participating in a sport that is very young still. I mean, it's very, very young. So for you, I'm not saying, you're full of yourself, but do you at all feel like a chip on your shoulder, or do you feel proud to know that, hey, I'm one of the first really female fighters, right? Like, this is still very early in the sport.
Yeah, man, we're pioneers for sure. And that's what I tell, I pioneered a sport before this. I was a gymnast
Mhm.
all through, my young age. And then in college, I did a sport called acrobatics and tumbling, and I was on Baylor's inaugural team. So I was on the first team ever. So I've done this before, and it's so cool. It's just knowing that you're writing history is, it feels special. You feel like you're a part of something really important. And, for us, we're part of the development of women's MMA. I mean, when you look at men's MMA and women's MMA, we're clearly behind, but of course we are. We didn't have the opportunities that they had. So of course we're behind, but I mean, just seeing how fast this sport is progressing and being a part of it, and seeing, the girls that were fighting in the UFC back in the, the Stone Age, 2012, the Stone
Yeah.
Ages, so
Yeah.
long ago, and knowing, look how far it's come. Like none of the talent, the skill then is nowhere near what it is now. If those girls stepped in the cage with any of us, it would be, it'd be a rough night, just because of the progression. That's what's supposed to
Absolutely.
happen. As time goes by, we're supposed to progress. And so yeah, it's really cool being a part of that. And then just, what are the next, I probably have maybe 5 years left in me, 6 years. What are the next 5 or 6 years gonna look like? I'm really, really excited, because seeing these new, like Erin Blanchfield, the young people coming
Oh,
in, like,
dog. She's a dog.
dude, just
Yeah.
seeing the potential. It's like, and I'm hoping people are saying that about me after next weekend too. But just
Yeah.
seeing the rise of the new, the new women's mixed martial artists, it's pretty cool. That it's
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, I mean, she is extremely young, and Aaron Blanchfield in particular, to be this good already. But don't get it twisted, you are in your prime, I feel like,
Oh
right
yeah,
now as
no, I
well.
know. And
Yeah,
I don't have the years that she has of experience. And so
yeah,
luckily I have all the gymnastics that's helped me develop quickly. Freak strong, I've been blessed with a lot of speed. So
yeah.
I've got a lot of things that are, maybe my skill, I'm still developing skillfully, but I have a lot of natural talent that's helped me get this far.
Absolutely. And you mentioned too, right? Athletically, you've been blessed. You've been very gifted as well, and I believe that shows in your wins, really, because you're very balanced. You have two KO TKOs, two submissions, three decisions. You're a very balanced fighter. So let's wrap this up a little bit here. Let's talk about next weekend, right? We're in San Antonio. I'm there. You're there. Your family's there. Everyone's there, right? What's going to be a successful night? What are you looking to accomplish? I'm not asking for your game plan. I'm just saying, what's going to be a successful night for you?
I have so much confidence going into this fight. My opponent is phenomenal. I know she's great. The girl that I was supposed to fight last fought her. So I studied her in watching my last opponent's fights. I knew what I was getting into. And I almost feel like this is a better matchup for me, because I am very calm and collected, and so is Tamires. And so I think it'll be a really good technical matchup. And that's what I always want. I want to showcase that part of MMA, the skill, the beauty of the sport. That's what I love. I love the making it look pretty. And I think that I'm going to have an opportunity to do that. So I'm really excited. And just being able to have, my family there, my state there, and I know that I'm probably the first fight of the night, so it's not going to be a full stadium, but it's still going to be full of the people that I love, because, they're going to be able to come watch me. So that's really cool. But I'm really excited. I got 4 extra weeks to train. And it's going to show because I've just been drilling the same things over and over and over
Yeah.
and over, over and over and over, that there's no way that I'm not going to hit them. It's like, I'm so confident in it. I'm so confident. I know what to look for. I know Tamires has some like dangerous weapons, but I've addressed all of them, and I'm excited to be able to go and prove to myself that what I do in training is working.
I'm very excited to be there. You said that stadium might be full. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be there. All right, I'm gonna be there. I'll be watching. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. And I'm very excited for this. As we wrap this up, please let the viewers, the listeners know where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
My Instagram account is All Hail MMA, and from there, if you just go to my bio, you can kind of find all my other pages and my website and stuff like that. But yeah, make sure you tune in. I've been working really, really hard for this one, and I'm really excited to finally debut and show everyone, what Texas MMA looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited too. After post fight, I'll definitely holler at you, ask you what's up. Especially after the win. My last one though, before we leave, there is a big fight tomorrow, right? This is on March 17th. I want to know who you think's gonna win the main event, Kamaru and Leon.
Do I want to win or who I think's gonna win?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who do you think is going to win? I'm sorry.
No, I heard you. I was kidding because my heart and my head are telling me two different things.
Okay.
I think Kamaru's gonna win.
I want Leon to win so bad.
I want Leon to win as well. I do want Leon to win. But he keeps referring. I don't know if you've watched any of the tape, but he keeps saying he's gonna kick him in the head again. And I'm pretty sure that Kamaru has worked on head kick defense. So yeah. I'm hoping there's more to the game plan than that.
I think what's going to be so interesting is I think Leon's BJJ is better than Kamaru's, even though they're both black belts. And I think that's going to be very telling to see in the grappling exchanges how that's going to work out. I think as well, the one thing I'm kind of worried about Usman is he's referring to the 3 rounds he was winning. And that's very true. But I think in a sport like MMA, the philosophy of I was winning until I wasn't doesn't work because this sport is all about sequence by sequence. Until you're winning until you're not, right? So I think
that's one of the things, like, too, like for me, like I'm a big believer in visualization, and a lot of MMA fighters want to visualize themselves winning the fight. I put myself in the worst, ugliest, nastiest positions in my mind, like getting head kicked and getting nearly knocked out, then them taking my back, and then I like to watch myself like work out of those positions. Yeah. And I don't know why people don't do more of that. And it's not a weak thing. It's a very, it's a strong thing to be able to do, because once you get into those positions, hopefully you're not in the fight, but if you get into that space, it's like, okay, I've been here before. You've seen this happen. We're not surprised. Now work out of it. I don't know why more people don't do that.
A lot of that's rooted just in ego, but also in it's not very easy for people to be vulnerable in situations like that. True. And as a man like myself, like I pride myself on being in touch with my emotions, not being afraid to like express my emotions, express how I'm feeling. And a lot of people, from a men's point of view, that's very difficult. And I'm sure you experienced that before. With that being said, I'm very, very glad that I got the opportunity to speak with you. The pleasure, the honor was mine, and I cannot wait to see you next weekend for sure.
Yes, I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, Fox West Texas and MMA Monday, I'm Damien Bartonic, signing out.